So the 76ers are cooking something. They're cooking something, lads, and I genuinely think they're going for broke next year. I think they know the next 2 years is their window. Joel Embiid's 30, and he has the body of a 36-year-old. While his input or his output is unbelievable, he's still getting old. And you might say 30 is not old. It is when you've got the likes of Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey is becoming a superstar in front of our... Superstar's probably... becoming a star in front of our eyes. Probably a better way to say it. And they know they don't have too much longer. So they need some win-now players. And with Tobias Harris off the books, they now have the opportunity to go for one more. They have the opportunity. And there are 2 players that the Philadelphia 76ers are looking at getting. And I'm going to be talking about both of them and which ones I think, which of them 2 might push them over the edge. So these guys are realistically going to be coming in to replace Tobias Harris. If they can run it back with a lot of their other guys like Embiid, you've got Oubre, you've got Tyrese Maxey, you've got if you can keep Batum, those type of guys, you've got yourselves the guts of a team that will make a run to playoffs. Yeah, they lost in 6 to New York. It could have easily swung the other way. It's one of those series that could have swung either way, and I would have tipped them against the Pacers as well. So it would have probably been them and the Celtics, even though I think Joel Embiid would have broke down by then. And you just never know when it comes to Joel Embiid's knees what he's going to be like for the playoffs. But I think the Sixers are going to give it a good go next year. And the 2 players they're looking at are Jimmy Butler and Paul George. So first of all, their number 1 option is Paul George. And I think Paul George is unlikely to stay with the Clippers because he's already turned down their offers for the extension. They won't give him the max, and he won't take less than the max. So obviously, it's looking like he's not going to stay at the Clippers. If I'm LA, I'm stumped at what to do. I don't know what to do because Harden wants money. Russ is there. Kawhi is always injured, and you've got Kawhi tied down. I really don't know what to do if you're LA. Do you blow it up? Do you just go and blow it up? Because I genuinely do not know what you do if you are the LA Clippers. You're kind of screwed right now. Like you've had your time. You've had 5 years. Like it has been five seasons at the Clippers. I've made the conference finals once in 5 seasons. So I think, do you blow it up? It's hard to run it back because you know you don't have a chance next year, but also you don't have your own picks really to blow it up with. So it's tricky. It's tricky. Actually, maybe I don't know how many more picks they owe out to teams. But at the end of the day, I probably don't offer Paul George the max. Maybe let him go. But if the Sixers do offer him the max, that pairs a big 3 of Paul George. It gives them Tyrese Maxey and it gives them Joel Embiid. There were rumors of Paul George going to the Philadelphia 76ers back in 2020 after his pandemic P throwing the ball off the side of the backboard playoff series. But back in 2020, it was looking like it was going to be some sort of like a Paul George for, I can't even remember, maybe it was Tobias Harris, but it was to pair Paul George with Ben Simmons with Joel Embiid, which probably still wouldn't have worked, but it would have made them a hell of a team in 2021 before Ben Simmons seemingly forgot how to play basketball. But at the same time, this is a perfect chance for PG to go and get his ring. You might be saying, oh, if he's jumping to teams to try ring chase, who gives a damn? He's getting old. He's only got a couple of years left. But with a lineup like that, they've got length, they've got defense, they've got ability to score, and you've got a guy who is a decent off-the-ball, or pretty good off-the-ball shooter, like in PG. Tyrese Maxey, though, it's just one of those weird ones, because, like, do you add a 3rd star to that team if you are Philadelphia? Or do you try to get 2 other pieces? Do you try to get 2 not quite max players in there that might fill a better role? Do you start looking at a Klay Thompson? Do you want to put as your 3rd player a Klay Thompson? Does he fit that role better than Paul George? I don't think he does. But at the same time, like, is Paul George the right fit? I think probably. Paul George is the right way to go because he is the best of all those players available. He's the best player available in free agency, and you're a team that healthy are one piece off. If you can just flat out replace Tobias Harris with Paul George and everyone stays healthy, the Philadelphia 76ers instantly become one of the 2 or 3 favorites to win the championship. But if Paul George does fall through and they go and have to get Jimmy buckets, there is a potential that they're looking for Jimmy Butler. And when it comes to Jimmy Butler, I just don't know. As great as he has been at times for the Miami Heat, especially in the playoffs, he's been awful at times. Let's not forget, as good as he was in 2020, he carried the team in the finals. But up to the finals, the top scorer was Goran Dragic, And then in the conference semifinals, no one could shut up about how good Tyler Hero was. Do you remember all those Bubble Boy memes because of how good Hero was? As good as Jimmy was in 2020, like, it's not like he was out of his playing like out of his world other than the finals. In 2021, he got outscored by Bryn Forbes in the first round. In 2022, he was pretty good. But at the same time, Miami were the 1 seed. So it's not like Miami were bad in 2022. That 2022 version of the Heat were the best Heat team there was. As good as Jimmy was, he also did miss the shot to send him to the NBA Finals. And then in 2023, heroics. Absolute heroics. Was terrible in the finals, but heroics to get to the finals. And at the same time, he was barely above Caleb Martin in the conference finals MVP votes. But at the same time, like, he was way better than Caleb Martin in the other 2 series. So with Jimmy Butler, you've got a guy who's not really going to try that hard in the regular season, was injured this year in the playoffs, but albeit played on an MCL tear. But he has been in Philly. He's going to give them toughness. He's not going to give them nearly as much shooting as PG. And I don't know how necessarily he fits beside a Tyrese Maxey and a Joel Embiid, because he's already been beside. He's already been beside Embiid. With Tobias Harris, who's a lot better than Tobias Harris now, and Ben Simmons, who in fairness was still Ben Simmons at the time. So it is an interesting one if you are Philly. Who do I go for if I'm them? PG. If I'm Philly, I go for Paul George. I don't necessarily know what's going to happen with Jimmy and the Miami Heat. I actually do think that that's going to break down, because Jimmy's someone who is like, Jimmy's is as stubborn as anyone. Like, that's a guy who is not going to really listen to anyone else if he does what he wants. And Miami also do that. And the fact that the two of them were able to coexist was to be expected, because Jimmy and Miami were perfect together. But at the same time, I can see Jimmy looking to jump ship. And I still don't know with Philly, after being told, can we control him, if he'll go back. But I do think if the Philadelphia 76ers get Paul George, they instantly don't become favorites, because I do think it's going to be hard to... If the Celtics win the championship this year, it's going to be hard to say anyone other than the Celtics are favorite next year. If the Nuggets go and win back-to-back, it's hard to say anyone else is favorites. Or if the OKC Thunder somehow get to the finals, which they could do, it's going to be hard to see how anyone else is favorites. But they're in that contender conversation. And the NBA is in a spot right now where there are so many teams that could go and win that it pushes them right into the contender category. And if you are the Philadelphia 76ers, that's really all you can hope to be at this stage. So anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.